is absolutely indescribable. And what makes it even more interesting is that that's exactly what I asked for. That's exactly what I wanted. So I was busy all morning and took a daytime nap and noticed that the last OBE, I also took a daytime nap. So there's clearly some correlation. And there is, because a lot of the OBEs I've had were during the day, including my NDE, actually. Um, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. I really don't know. But before I went to sleep, I was kind of praying, meditating, asking, show me something I can't mentally comprehend in my current state of evolution. So, and by evolution, I mean there's only a certain amount of things one's mind can imagine because your mind is a filter of information. So there are certain things that are beyond your comprehension. And I I asked for it. I actually prayed. I'm like, show me something I wouldn't be able to come up with. And I got exactly what I received, which was astonishing. So it started off with just a dream, um, just a normal dream. And I woke up again. And after I woke up, I became paralyzed, fully paralyzed. And this happens every time. And as I felt my body become numb and stiff, I again just sort of popped out of my body. And again, this time I was encouraging myself, just like last time. I was saying, you can do this. Come on, just keep like literally pushing. And I just like literally popped out. And that very moment immediately felt free, liberating, peaceful, natural, a natural state of being. And I love it. And I was just floating above in my room, and I decided to be silly. So I literally started spinning in circles. I literally said to myself, let's have some fun. So I start spinning in circles like my consciousness. And it literally looked like a merry-go-round. And it was literally a whole bunch of fun. I just kept spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning faster and faster. However, as I was spinning, the room began to change. My room began to morph and change colors, and this dimensional space began to alter. And so I stopped because it was getting a little bit intense. And then I looked to my left where my mirror was, and I see a beautiful burning ring. Now, the best way I can describe this ring is that it looked like those Christmas ornaments, a wreath, like a burning wreath on fire. And it was not a normal fire, it was a beautiful, gorgeous, illuminating fire. It was really intense and not like just looking at a fireplace. I don't know how to explain it, but it looked like a wreath. And it was wooden and on fire. And I got closer and closer to it. I touched it with my hand, and I didn't get burned, didn't feel any pain at all. And it was beautiful. And so suddenly I see this, I'm fixated on this burning fire, and I go inside it. I actually project my consciousness inside of this burning ring of fire. And I wanted to remind everyone that we're having a ring of fire eclipse on the 8th. So I thought that was an interesting comparison right there. And so as I entered into this burning ring, I find myself in space, surrounded by stars. and I see nebula, or what I can describe as gas clouds, these massive, massive gas clouds with all these really interesting colors. And this entire time, I'm hearing this musical tone, like a harmony playing like in the background. Like it was like this consistent hum throughout this entire experience. Um, and I then just go like faster than light speed and just bam, like as fast as I can think about it, end up in this room. And this room was strange immediately. First of all, I couldn't tell whether it was a massive room or a tiny room. I'm looking all around, and depending on where you're focusing your attention on, it looks like you're either in a tiny space, but if you shift your focus this way, it becomes this massive warehouse like square room. It looked like a warehouse, but not. And I'm going around and I'm looking at the walls. And the walls, the only way I can describe it to where it makes sense is that the walls look like they have sound wall. Like if you go into a music studio, you see this foam, and that's soundproofing to block out the sound. That's what these walls look like, but a lot more. It looked like they had soundproofing, but they had all these hieroglyphics, these symbols that look like hieroglyphics. They were like squares and like S's and dots and triangles, and there were just, it looked like a language was encompassing the entire wall. And I'm just staring all around, and I look at the floor, and on the floor were these clay, red clay blocks. They were red clay blocks about the size of a medium sized box, and they were together but separate at the same time. And these clay blocks were like this reddish, earthy color, like muddy red. Like they literally look like red clay you would find by a river. And these red clay blocks also had symbols on top of them. And I am asking myself, what are they? And they responded because those clay blocks were alive. They were sentient. They were a sentient life form. And so got this understanding from them that they were in some sort of state of hibernation, and they are coming back to life, whatever that means. And they started morphing and shape shifting. And this entire time, I got this impression that wherever I was insanely, incredibly ancient. Like these life forms were extremely timeless and much, much, much older than we are. And I just started floating around, and I saw them fusing together and coming to life. It looked like some kind of strange sci-fi movie, and it was getting a little bit intense, actually. I was getting overwhelmed watching them do this. So I left. I left and went back here and just slammed back into my body. So, what does it mean? You tell me.